Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to boarding for the new journey on kesuvos, and this journey should be very muslach.
Orient Express.
Which is in here. Let's see. Why is it not coming on? Something went wrong. Is that on? Is it showing on the screen then on the Zoom?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I must have everybody on the CM of yesterday, and those who were with us, those who were not, and we hope all to be together.
Dr. Fine is on today?
Dr. Fine is here, yeah.
Wow, Dr. Fine, you're the biggest subject. Let me just tell you, forget about us. It's 11 o'clock. But you, every day, 4 o'clock in the morning, wow. Okay?
Inspiration to all.
But we want you to come here at 11 o'clock also in person from now on. Okay?
Okay.
Right. Esra Day is August 12th, August 13th.
Oh,
The week after Tisha B'Av.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
What date?
It's a Tuesday. It's 10 days after Tisha B'Av.
Okay, wow, we can't wait. Very nice.
Okay, beautiful. August
We want you to
13th.
come in. We understand your son is,
August 13th?
No, that's
Could be. It's a Tuesday. I don't know.
okay.
I'm leaving the United States Tuesday. It might be getting the Wednesday. I don't know what time.
talking about the regular schedule, or we're a week behind.
I'm leaving the 16th.
The 16th.
Very nice. Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful.
August 16th, that's good.
So we have to do a little more than a daf.
In order to catch up.
Yeah,
A
that's,
7 more. A week will be cut.
Okay, maybe we could do a half and a half today. We'll see how it goes.
oh, okay.
The Sula in this case, a virgin and Almana. Sula means that she's a virgin. Almana means that she's already been married, a widow, and marrying for the second time. So Takana that a Basula should get married. In this stage, it means the Nisuin, the second stage. We said always that there are 2 stages of marriage. One is Eris and one is Nisuin. Eris means the Kedushin, which is usually in the home of the bride. That she'll be living over there still, and make a student Eris in Bebeis Chamev. And then the Nisuin is that after a year or so, we'll see later on that the bride would come to the husband's home, and they have a Nisuin. That's the marriage. So they made a takana that a basula should get married on Wednesdays. Yom Revi. We'll see soon why. Almana Yom Chamishi and Almana on the Thursday. The married takana, when should be marriage days? The marriage days of a basula is on Wednesday. Is that why it's called Wednesday? Anything to do with that?
Wednesday.
I don't know. It's my own chiddush. I don't know.
Very good.
I don't know if it's true.
It's
And
from the German.
what is that?
It's from the Germans. It's Avodah
It's Avodah Zarah, so take it back. It's an Avodah Zarah name. But okay, Remez is a davar yesh, that Wednesday is the day of weddings. Amana Yom Chamishi, we also don't know why yet. Now it goes back to Mishnah is going to explain something about the Basula. Why is that on Wednesday? Shepahamim Shepahamayim B'Shabbos Batei Din Yoshim Layoros Yom Sheni B'Yom Chamishi. That the Batei Dinim are open in session twice a week, which is Mondays and Thursdays, and we're concentrating on the Thursday one. That if after they'll have relations right after the wedding, that means that the wedding is going to be on a Wednesday, so Wednesday night they'll have relations. And if he has any problems because he finds that she's not a basula, he thought she was a virgin, and he's not going to find that she has virginity, he'll go to Bezdin the next morning. And that seems like we're concerned that he should come to Bezdin, and we don't want him to cool down. That if you wait until a couple of days later, he might forget about it and continue, and that somehow bothers us, which we don't know what that means. If the issue is only that he doesn't want to pay ksuba, but the ksuba of a psula is going to be double 200, and the ksuba of Alman is only 100, and he has tinus because he doesn't want to pay the ksuba, then that's not our business, it's his business. If he wants to cool down, let him cool down. So it seems that we're interested in finding out if she was Mazana. That's what the Gemara is going to talk about, that we have interest to know if she was Mazana, that he shouldn't cool down. So that's going to be more in the Gemara. We don't have too much of that today. But so far, wanted to say the reason why they made a takana that a basula should get married on Wednesday is because we're interested that if he has sinus, he should come to Bezdin right away on Thursday before he cools down.
Can
And
we make it a little bigger?
bigger.
The letters, no?
The letters. Okay, okay,
That's good.
okay.
Right.
So and the Thursday that Almana gets married on Thursday, we'd have the Mishnah doesn't say why. So we'll have to wait. So far, what do we learn? Takana, that a Psul should get married on Yom Revi, in order that if he has time, she should come to Bezdin, which is open on Thursday. We also might ask, so then also make it on Sunday, because they come to Bezdin on Monday. That doesn't say. So far, just says Takana to come on, to get married on Wednesdays. I'm Rav Yosef, I'm Rav Yudam Shmuel, if they ma Amru Psul, and this says Yom Revi, לפי ששנינו, הגיע הזמן ולניסו אוכלוס בשלב ואוכלוס בתרומה, יכול הגיע הזמן באחד בשבס ימד למזונוס, וכך שנינו, בסלו וניסו סתם רביעי. Shmuel seems to say, Rav Yosef is quoting Rav Yudam Shmuel, so Rav Yosef is quoting this Shmuel, that says that the issue of getting married on Wednesday has ramifications that if he's ready to marry, and usually marriage obligates him to give him his own nose. That means there's Erison and Nesuin. Again, the woman has been married, whatever the word is going to be. What's the word? Betrothed. There was an Erison, Kedushin, that was a long time ago, and she's still living by her father. And then he's supposed to marry her a year later and take her into his home. And the chiyuv to give him his own nose is only from when he takes her in, Nesuin. Now it says that if he, and it's going to see, so it's the Mishnah on the Afnun Zayin, it says that if the time came and he didn't marry her, he didn't take her into his home, he starts to give him his owners. The Chiv Zonos starts a year after Erison. And if he's supposed to marry her and take her in and start feeding her. If he does not take her in, he starts to give him his owners. The Chiv Zonos is a year to the day, 12 months to the day after the Erison. And he's supposed to marry her by then. If he doesn't, so she has a time, he's supposed to take me, didn't marry me, but give him his owners till you're ready.
So is every Erison on a Wednesday?
No. Erison, there's no
it's
different
not gonna
Erison.
be here.
So that's what they were saying here, that if it comes out that the anniversary, that means the day they're supposed to get married, they're supposed to be taken Nesuin. It came out before the Wednesday.
Sunday.
So then that's not, she has no time. She can't say for those couple of days, it's the day he's supposed to marry me today. He says, I can't, we have to wait till Wednesday. Since the Mishnah says you can't marry until Wednesday, so if the anniversary day means the anniversary of the Erison, which is supposed to be it's supposed to be completed already, it's supposed to be the Nesuin. But if it came out before Wednesday, so then he says, I can't marry yet, so I'm not chayv mizonos either. That has to be a couple of more days.
So we go by the Jewish calendar.
Yeah, yes.
So sometimes it will be 13 months. If it's
No, 12 months. It goes 12 months. It doesn't have, 12 months. It doesn't have to do, I said a year, it has to do with 12 months. The student says, it
You're
says,
saying he's not high. I thought the Mishnah said he is high.
what does this
She
say?
gets to eat.
No, so it says, he gives man, if the time arrived that they're supposed to have been married 12 months and he still didn't marry her, so then they do have a right to eat his food.
So isn't that the case I said?
But that, no, because here it says, Yachli gives man to Shabbos. We continue now, Shmuel's talking. If the 12 months is over on a Sunday, you think he has to pay? Because he gives man to Nisu. No, the Kachshaninu, here the Mishnah says that the time to marry is only on a Wednesday. So from Sunday until Wednesday, he doesn't have to give her food because he can't marry her yet. If it's a regular case, he gives. If the Mishnah says that if the time came and he didn't marry her, let's say the Wednesday came already. The Wednesday came and now he didn't marry her, then he has to start paying his owners because he should marry her already. It's a year already, and it's also Wednesday. So why did he not marry? Now he has to start.
I'm sorry. Yehe male la mazonos means he doesn't have to give.
He does have to. Yochel, here. The Mishnah says.
So isn't it like what I said?
I'm not sure what he said, or maybe I'm not understanding.
He did the Erusin on a Sunday, and a year later it's going to be Sunday, and he can't marry her. So until he can marry her, he has to pay.
why do you say it's going to be
You were saying he
No,
doesn't have
not
to
necessarily.
It
there's a-
won't-
But it came out. It does make a difference when he.
It won't be the same day of the week.
Days
Mostly.
on Wednesday.
That if it says here that if the time that he could marry her arrived and he didn't marry, he has to pay her mazonos. That's what it says. So now Shmuel's taking over and saying, but that only means that it came to a Wednesday. If the time, the 12 months is over before a Wednesday, he doesn't have to give her food until the Wednesday comes. This is the Mishnah. The Mishnah says he gives man below nisu achos v'shlo achos v'truma. Truma is not our subject. Now happens to be if he's a Kohen and she's now getting married, also she's allowed to eat truma. Also, already that's not the subject so much. But it does say that once the time comes that they should have married and didn't marry, so he has a chiyuv to give him his owners. But now Shmuel's saying, based on our Mishnah, that says they're not supposed to marry until Wednesday. If the 12 months is over on a Sunday, for instance, he doesn't have. You might think yochol yemalom his owners. No, the Kachshaninu that he doesn't have to give him his owners because he can't marry her yet.
Right, so he gets the extra.
Okay, the Mishnah is good. The Shmuel is good.
I see.
Around-
Because we-
around-
The Shanino is that, because
Since we learned
we're
in,
teaching that, or whatever. we
over there it
learned
says
that
he's
the
supposed
Basula can
to-
only do it on the Vihi, so he's not able to marry her.
right, so therefore
So
he
even though
doesn't,
the year's up, he's still not able, and he's not.
right, right.
That- That's,
That was that, Rav Yosef said in the name of Shmuel. It's good?
yeah, that's good.
No good? When 12 months after the Erusin is over, he's supposed to marry her. If he doesn't marry her, he has to give his own. Now it came, 12 months is over, but it's not a Wednesday.
Oh.
So does he have to give him his onus? He says, I can't marry you until Wednesday. So he doesn't have to give his onus until Wednesday. So if it came out on a Sunday or a Monday or a Tuesday, he says, I can't, I'm not his onus until Wednesday. If it comes Wednesday and he doesn't marry her, so then he starts giving his onus. Omar Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef quoted Shmuel. And then he said, Morid Avram, like people say, Ribono Shel Olam. But he says, Ribono Shel Avram, Morid Avram, like Hashem, like he's upset. Tali Tanya b'delo Tanya. Shmuel is saying something which is beferish in a Mishnah or Brisa, and something which is not beferish. That's an expression of Yosef says a couple of times in the Shas when it seems to say something, you bring something that's not explicit and that is explicit, and you say, I can learn it out from something which is not explicit. They want to ask right away, they hear that these words don't make sense. Hey Tanya, hello Tanya. Which does it say, which does it not say? Both of them say. Tanya, Tanya. Both of them are Mishnah. It means this our halacha here is a Mishnah that says that Psul Nissus Yom Revi, and this other halacha here, Yigias Mavel Nissu Ochos Mishlav Ochos Shudim is also a Mishnah. So what is the Yosef complaining that one is beferish, one is not? Both of them are beferish Mishnahs. So he didn't mean to say that. He meant to say like this: Ella Tali Tanya de Mefarish Timer, but Tanya de Lo Mefarish Timer. That he depends. He is explaining something which says openly what the reason is in another Mishnah, which it doesn't say the reason. Which means, if you look at the words, what Yosef quotes, what Shmuel said, he said, "Mipnei ma amru." Why did they say? Why did they say? First of all, this is not the reason why they said. This answer doesn't say why they said. This is not a reason why she gets married on Wednesday. This is just saying that since she gets married on Wednesday, so it has this ramification. But the question was, how come? How come? Look at our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says the reason. The Mishnah why she gets married on Wednesday is because he should come to Bezdin on Thursday if he has any complaints. So Shmuel's question is answered in the Mishnah alone. And he brings down another Mishnah doesn't answer the question. And over there it talks about the ramifications, but that's not what he started saying. He started saying Mipnei ma amru. So that's Rav Yosef's question on the quotation that he had from Shmuel. So we have to edit a little bit. El Yitma Chayitma. The real quotation should have been like this. Amav Yudam Shmuel, Mipnei ma amru b'sul nisas yom revi. That's our Mishnah. Shemay lo tanas b'sul moy mashkin lebezin, like our Mishnah says. The reason why they made it to come to get married on Wednesday is because if he has complaints, he should come to Bezin on Thursday. But now the question arises that Sunday is just as good. Which is also open on Monday. Since Bez is open on Monday and Thursday, so then also he could have made the wedding day should be have a choice, either Sunday or Wednesday. Because either way, if he has complaints, he go to Bez the next day. So that is a reason which the Bryce said later on. This thing that the Gemara says now is not Shmuel's own invention. This is a Bryce coming up on Avgimel on the base, and it says, Shaktu chachamim al takanas b'nos Yisrael she'ihei tareach b'suda shlosha yamim. Echad b'Shabbos, b'sheni b'Shabbos, b'shish b'Shabbos. Chazal didn't want that the wedding should be Sunday. Because if the wedding is Sunday, then he doesn't have time to prepare a nice meal, a nice wedding banquet. So the wedding banquet, if you make it on Sunday, Shabbos he wasn't able to. In one day, you're going to make a wedding in one day. So he wanted to at least be 3 days of preparation, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and that way Wednesday. So it's true. Mitzad the Bezdin, it would have been good Sunday or Wednesday because the Bezdin's open Monday and Thursday. But we have another consideration that it should be a nice wedding, a wedding. And it should be covered, B'nos Yisrael, like it says here. Shaktu Chacham. The word Shaktu means that they were diligent in order to make it good for the B'nos Yisrael. It's a cover for the B'nos Yisrael that the husband makes a nice suda. So they wanted to make that the wedding should have at least 3 days of preparation. So they didn't allow to get married on Sunday. Therefore, you get married on Wednesday. Okay, so there's 2 possibilities, Sunday and Wednesday, and they took away the possibility of Sunday in order to be a nice meal. So now Shmuel says, "Yes, Mavalo Nisu." And now that we have this Raisa, we learned that says that Chazal wanted that the meal should not be on Sunday. The main chiddush of Shmuel was not why. Why he says in our Mishnah, the reason why they made it Mipnei Ma is our Mishnah. But he wanted to point out that there's another point that's in the Brisa that says that it can't get married on Sunday either. And because of that, even if the 12 months is over on a Sunday, if we noticed before, I didn't stress it before, but Shmuel's Dagish was the Echad B'Shabbos is the point that even Sunday is not enough, even though Sunday also was a possible marriage day, but no, Chazal said not to. So since they said not to, so even if it comes out on Sunday, he doesn't have to pay Mazonos until Wednesday. So we fixed up what Shmuel meant to say.
Because he has to prepare the.
Because he has to prepare the food. So we want the wedding shouldn't be on a Sunday. And therefore, even if the 12 months is over on a Sunday, he doesn't have to give his onus until Wednesday. Now Rav Yosef takes over. So so far all this was to explain what Shmuel meant. Rav Yosef quoted Shmuel. First we didn't understand, and then we got clarity. Shmuel meant to say that the wedding is only on Wednesday, and therefore if the 12 months is over before that, he doesn't have to pay Mazonos. Even if it's on a Sunday, he doesn't have to can't make the wedding until Wednesday, and therefore he doesn't have to pay. Now Rav Yosef takes over, and he goes into the subject of Mazonos. The main subject of Mazonos is going to be later on in the Afnun Zion. Over there it talks about the chiyuv of the husband to pay Mazonos from the time that he can marry her. But now that we stumbled upon our Mishnah that says that Shmuel said, not that the Mishnah says, Shmuel says that if you can't marry her for this technical reason, because Chazal said not to make the wedding until Wednesday, he doesn't have to pay Mazonos. So if Yosef takes over from now, and that's going to be the rest of the day today, Lafika chalahu o shechalsahi o shepirsanida in a mazonos. Just like it says by Shmuel here said that if you can't marry her because the Chazal said that the wedding day can't be till a Wednesday, so he doesn't have to pay her Mazonos until Wednesday. If there are other onsim also, other reasons. He got sick, means it came 12 months, time to get married, and he can't because he's sick. Or she's sick and he can't marry her. Or she became an Ida and he can't marry her. So he says, do I have to pay Mazonos? No. Since Shmuel said that onus of the day, waiting day arriving is a reason why you don't have to pay Mazonos, any kind of onus. So too, if he's sick or she's sick, any other onus either also, or she became an Ida, so then he also doesn't have to pay Mazonos because he can't marry her.
And we're talking about after the year.
Right, yeah. After till 12 months, he doesn't have to. But once 12 months, he's
After the
going to
year,
pay him
just
either
like,
take her.
just like it's kind of to wait till Wednesday. So if somebody got sick, would be another onus.
Right. Just like he can't make the marriage day before Wednesday, so that's considered an onus, and he doesn't have to pay until that time is available. So too, any other onus that happens, he got sick, she got sick, she became an Ida. All these cases, he doesn't have to pay his onus either, because even that this might be much longer than a couple of days. The case of Wednesday is 3 days, Sunday to Wednesday, 3 days. Yeah, it might be a long time that he can't marry her for whatever reason. He's sick. The Ida is going to be a couple of weeks. But about getting sick, he's sick, she's sick.
Him getting sick is a bigger chiddush than her being sick.
Because if she's sick, then he said, I'm ready, it's your fault.
Right.
But if he's sick, so she says, not my fault.
It's not my fault.
But also, this is also not my fault. That's what the Gemara is going to talk about, these points that you just said. Which one is a bigger chiddush? So far, the first Lashon said, and this is how we pass him. We pass him like this. Chalahu, oh, chalsahi, oh, shepir sanida, ein ma'alam mazonos. That's the first Lashon. And then the Gemara doesn't have another Lashon now, but we do pass like the first Lashon, that if an onus happens, he doesn't have to pay mazonos till he's able to marry her. Some didn't say it as a this Rav Yosef said. Others have a question and they weren't so sure. Even if Shmuel's right that if the day didn't come yet, Wednesday didn't arrive, he doesn't have to pay mazonos. But then maybe it's not a right to these cases of him getting sick, her getting sick, becoming an Ida. Others had a question. What if he got sick? He doesn't have to pay mazonos. Even if Shmuel's right that by Wednesday he doesn't have to pay mazonos. That Wednesday that he can't marry give him his onus. So too is the onus because he's sick. Over there, the onus is different. The Rabbanan made it takana. That's like an onus that the Rabbanan said. The Rabbanan are holding him back from marrying. So then he doesn't have to pay his onus. But here it's not that the Rabbanan holding him back. He has his personal issue. Maybe for that's not enough of a reason he shouldn't have to pay. Maybe he does have to pay his onus. So that's question number one. Even if you have question number one, maybe it's not going to answer question number two. How about chalsahi? Mahu? Even if you're going to say the answer would be that he does have to pay, they're going the other way. Maybe Shmuel, maybe reverse of is wrong. That here, if it's he got sick, he does have to pay. She says, "What did I do?" Like if it's the Rabbanan holding you back, okay, I understand. But here, I'm okay. I'm ready to get married. The Rabbanan are okay. You're not okay. So you still have to pay me his onus. But still, there will be a question: what if she got sick? He could tell her, I'm ready to get married. So if you can't, it's your problem. I don't have to give you mazonos. She could tell him that your field got flooded. Means that once you marry me, so now I'm your field. And if something happens to me, it's because of you. Means when someone's gets fields gets flooded, Hashem is intending to the owner of the field, not that the field did anything, it's the owner of the field. So here, if I became sick and you can't marry me, it's not my problem, it's your problem. And Hashem is telling you that you can't get married, but Hashem wants you to pay mizonos because I'm yours. So maybe even in this case also that it's not his fault, it is being blamed on him because the reason why she became sick is his problem. Even if it's not him sick, it's her sick. But
we're switching from him being sick.
yeah, the first case was here. I'll show it on here. I think here the question was, let's get some.
But then,
One question was
so
challah.
Tim Selamar Chala, who that's him.
Even if you're going to say in that case he does have to pay because
Yeah.
she's ready. But how about chol sahih? What's going to be about chol sahih? Maybe there's more reason why he does not have to give her mizonos because he says I'm ready. On the other hand, you could say no. That even in this case also he'd have to give her mizonos because she could say that it's your problem, it's your field, I'm your field. Which more is two stadim over here. Chol sahih, like Moshe said this, that it's more reason to be chayiv mizonos if it's his problem, if it's his sick. If he's sick, she says, I'm ready. So you can't have a problem, so pay me mizonos. But then he said, but if she got sick, then he says, I'm ready, you're not ready. And therefore I should not forgive the donkey mizonos. But maybe in the Stach Fosadeh says, even in that case also it's considered his problem, and he would have to give mizonos. Right. Vimtum Saloma, then the third case is going to be about Pierce and Idamar. Even the Imtim Saloma, one line up. Even if you're going to say that in the case where she got sick, she could tell him that your field was flooded. But how about Pierce and Idamar? If she became an Eden, that's why I can't marry her. You might say also, like he says, it's her problem. So it depends. If it's the regular menstrual period in the right time, the time that was expected to have a period, so then surely it's her issue. Loti boy, that wouldn't be a question. The low matzia amrole in the stach pasadei. She can't say that something happened to your field. This is not considered outside of the ordinary thing that something happened and it's a onish. Not onish. This is regular seder of living that a woman has a menstrual period and therefore he says, I don't have to give you mizonos in this case. But in the case where it came out of the ordinary, maybe Hashem is doing something out of the ordinary. That's similar to a sickness. Since it's not normal, it's not the regular time that you would usually have a period. So then she could say, Hashem is doing something to you. That's not my issue. I'm your field, and Hashem is punishing you that the wedding is going to be stalled for a week or two. Or maybe it is considered within the norm that not every woman always has it exactly on the same day. Some women do change their cycle sometimes. So it's considered regular. If it's regular, then it's her issue, and he would not have to pay her mizonos. So just to sum it up so far, we had two lashonos. Just to zoom out a second, we did have two lashonos. The first lashon, Rav Yosef said that all these things, he didn't make issue out of all these. He said it's an onus, he's sick, her sick, all these cases, he doesn't have to, if any reason at all, that he can't marry her, so then he doesn't have to give his onus. The second lashon, some people had a question, doesn't say ikadamri, some have a question besides Rav Yosef, and they had questions, and they had maybe he does have to give him a zonos by challah who, and even if not, even if there he does, even if he's there, he does not have to. But challah, how does it go? That even if he say challah who, he does have to. Maybe chol he does not have to, and even if chol he does, but maybe person either does not. And according to the second lashon, surely if it was a regular cycle, he would not have to give him a zonus. According to the first lashon, it sounds in all cases he doesn't have to give him a zonus because he wasn't able to marry her. So this was the sugi so far. And now the Gemara goes to the Mishnah over there, which we started with in the beginning of the sugya. The Mishnah says, "Igias man v'lo nisu, ochlos b'shalom, ochlos b'truma." So Rav Achoy wants to bring a proof to answer. He wants to bring a proof. Pashut means like to explain and to bring a proof. To answer the question means, can I prove from the lashon of the Mishnah if it's onus of some sort, does he have to give his onus or not? It says in the Mishnah, the word literally v'lo nisu, before I didn't translate it literally, but the word the v'lo nisu means that if the time came and they did not get married, the woman is taken. The word of the husband taking the wife would have been called nasu, to be nosei, to marry. But nisu is to be married. Be married means the woman is the one who's being married. Lo nasu lo katani. The Mishnah doesn't say that if the time came and the husband didn't marry the woman, so he has to pay her mazonos. It doesn't say that. It says that lo nisu, that the women were not taken. So it doesn't blame it on the husband so much. It says it doesn't point to the husband. You didn't marry her, so pay her mazonos. It says they were not married. They didn't. The woman wasn't taken, and still you have to give mazonos. It sounds like something that's because of her. What is the case that she wasn't taken? Either kamakvan, and if she's the problem and she doesn't want to get married yet, she has some issue, and it's not an onus. She doesn't want to get married yet. She needs more time. She didn't get whatever she wants to wait. She get it. So then surely why does she have to pay mazonos for? It's her issue. I'm ready. Nothing stopping her either. It must be the isness. It must be some kind of an onus. It must be that there's an onus over here. The word isness means an onus. The hard one means that she was an onus. The word literally doesn't mean that. It means he's a nanas. It should have said nan some maybe. I'm questioning that. But the Gemara says it must be that the case that since it says lo nisu, it's talking about that they were not taken, not that it's their fault, but it's because of an onus. This guy Gavna, there's some kind of an onus like that we mentioned before, and it says ochlos mishlov, ochlos betruma, and it says they do it. This is against Shmuel. Shmuel said at the beginning of Shmuel, Rabbi Yosef, the first thing said that just like if the Wednesday didn't come, they don't. Shmuel said that they don't get mazonos because Wednesday didn't arrive. Rabbi Yosef said so too. All kinds of onsim. He doesn't have to give him mazonos. Here it seems to say the opposite. And also all these questions in the second lesson, here it sounds that even if there's an onus, he still does have to give him mazonos. That's what Rabbi is coming to prove. This is Kagav. Then it says, so Rabbi wants to make a right that an onus is not a reason to be put from mazonos. Since it says lo nisu, it sounds like even though there's an onus that's happening, still he does have to give mazonos. But Ravashi rejects the proof of Rabbi Choy. It could be that the verse was right in the beginning that an onus doesn't get any mazonos, no matter even if it's his onus. But the kamakvi inu, and the case that the Mishnah says he has to give is because the husband is holding back, well, not any onus. He's just like giving food. If it's as if it would have said lo nasu, that if the time arrived then the husband did not take the wife for no good reason, so then he has to give mazonos. So why doesn't it say that? It should have said lo nasu. Why say lo nisu? It should have said lo nasu that the men didn't marry, which means that would have implied that it's the man's fault, and that's the reason that he has to give mazonos. But so it should have said that. But why does it say lo nisu? Since the subject of the Mishnah over there is talking about the woman, like Rashi says that it's talking about the basula, if it's 12 months after the basula was not engaged, but the mureset, so then the nisun has to happen. The subject of the sentence is talking about the woman. That's why he talks about the woman more than the man, but not that the point is whose fault it is, who's holding back. Even if she's holding, if there's an onus, that's not his, that's not his doing. Maybe he does not have to pay. Like we said right away in the beginning. Any onus he doesn't have to pay. The only time he has to pay is when it's his fault. And the reason why he changes the lashon is lav dafka. It's not talking about this point. He doesn't want to be medayik. He just wants to say she was not taken because he didn't take her. So that's the end of the Gemara. And as far as the halacha, that's why we pass like the beginning of the Gemara started off on the first lashon without all of these intricacies. Any kind of onus, he doesn't have to pay his onus. Nowadays, the whole case doesn't happen because we do everything in the suan all together. We don't make this.
Now, also, I never heard of you have to get married on Wednesday anyway.
So we have to see more Gemara for that.
Okay,
So far the Gemara says that the Mishnah said that the marriage day for a basula is on a Wednesday, in order that if he has claims, he should go to Bezdin on the Thursday. Nowadays, we're not a Bezdin on Wednesdays and Thursdays either. So that's also going to be part of the reason why nowadays maybe it doesn't apply. But in the Gemara's time, they had Bezdin open Mondays and Thursdays. And if he had a complaint about Basulim, they wanted him to be able to go to Bezdin right away. Sunday not, because he should have a 3-day preparation for the big, nice wedding feast. So the only time to marry is on a Wednesday. And that's that.
In America, the biggest night of the weddings is Sunday night.
We have caterers, you know.
Right.
You make a sheva bracha.
This is what it says basula.
Yes.
Rav Ashi started out telling about basula. That's why it says.
Over there, the Mishnah is talking about not our Mishnah. The Mishnah over there is talking about not our Mishnah. It's going to the Mishnah on Daf Nun Zayin, the one where it says he gives man below nisu.
We
It's
didn't
not our
have
Mishnah.
it.
We didn't have it. It's on Nun Zayin. And over there, the subject before that is talking about the woman, and therefore continues with the woman, even though the subject is a man. Not our Mishnah. So what we have so far, that the marriage day for a basula is on a Wednesday, and the reason is they should go to Bezdin on Thursday if he has a complaint. They didn't make out on Sunday because we wanted you to have at least a 3-day preparation. Shmuel derives from this that if the 12 months,
There's an onus.
if the 12 months is over before the Wednesday, so he doesn't have to pay mazonos, even though usually the Mishnah says if the time came and you're not taking her, you have to pay mazonos until you take her. But here he couldn't get married because the Wednesday didn't arrive, so then he doesn't have to. Even if even
Wednesday
Sunday,
didn't arrive.
then didn't arrive yet, so he can't marry her.
Oh, he finished.
He finished 12 months on a Sunday,
So
Monday,
Wednesday didn't
so
get
even
arrived, he does.
so he can't doesn't pay mazonos because he can't marry her. The rest of the sugya talks about other onsim, and we pass like the simple lashon right away says who are then any other owners, any reason why he can't marry her because he's sick or she's sick or neither. Even the worst case is that he's sick still, and she's ready to get married. He doesn't have to pay mazonos because he can. The Gemara had another lashon that maybe depends who's. It's not as bad as the case of the Mishnah because the case of the Mishnah is that the Chachamim held him back from getting married. Okay, but the Lamais be passing like the first lashon that in all kinds of onsim. He doesn't have to pay mazonos if he can't marry her. Okay, end of the sugya.
And did we deal with the truma, or that's just a side point?
That's a side point that when he has the right to give,
He's a Kohen.
he's a
she's
Kohen,
blessed.
right? Even though they didn't get married, but he does give her truma, and she's not a truma already, which is not our subject. Right. The Gemara continues now. New sugya, related topic. Amar Rava, Olinyan Gittin ain't okay. That's what Rava said. Olinyan Gittin ain't okay. Gittin is different. So now it goes into the sugya what the Gemara calls ain't onus begittin. Yesh onus begittin. Ain't onus begittin. Yeah, the case is going to be that someone gave a get on a condition, and the condition the Gemara is going to talk about. For instance, that he said, "I'm giving you a get. I want it to be a get. If I don't come back within a certain amount of time, 12 months, 30 days, that was his get. He gave a get on a condition, and at the end, the condition was fulfilled, and it's a get." But the condition was fulfilled because of an onus. The case would be, he said, here's a get if I don't come back within 30 days. And he didn't come back within 30 days, but because he was the onus, it was the onus. He wasn't able to come back. He got sick, whatever the case would be. He wasn't able to come. So is the get a get?
Apparently, yes.
So if a brother said that we're going to say, ain't onus begittin, there's no claim. You can't come to Bezin and say later on, I didn't come because I couldn't come. I wanted to come back. I wanted to come and it shouldn't be a get. It should not be a get. He gave a get and said on condition that I don't come back. He didn't come back. So the condition was fulfilled and it should be a good get. The woman says, I'm divorced. And he comes and says, I couldn't come back. I wasn't able to come back. I missed whatever, something happened. I was sick. I got corona, whatever that thing. So I wasn't able to come. So that's the subject now. That's going to be the rest of the subject. The rest of the day, that's going to be the subject. So Rava, there's the first lashon over here. We're going to pass along to the first lashon that Ulin Gittin Enokain, that Gittin is different. Even though he said by Mazonos, Yesh onus Mazonos, that if the reason that he can't marry is because of an onus, he does not have to give his onus. We recognize the onus, but by a get, we don't recognize the onus. Ain onus begittin. Gittin is different and means ain onus begittin, that the onus is not a good claim. Even though he's an onus, we understand him, but that's not a claim. Of course, just to get a little bit, the point is going to be that he didn't specify in his condition if it's an onus is going to be, if they have an onus. Even if I'm on onus that he could have said that. Chazal are telling him, if you don't say beferish, if you said beferish, I'm giving you a get on the condition that I don't come, except if there's an onus. He can specify that if I didn't come because of an onus, that doesn't mean I didn't come. But if he didn't say anything, he just gave a plain condition. If I don't come, it's a get. So if he didn't come, it's a get, and no excuse that it was an onus.
This has nothing to do with or giving his honest.
No, nothing to do with onus. No, nothing to do with onus. No, here we're talking about is it a good get or not?
I'm saying, but the minute the get is done, then
So then it's
it's
not. Yeah.
finished.
If they're divorced, then no mazonos, right?
No mazonos.
Nowadays, the whole term mazonos talks about after the get, but that's not that term of paying alimony called mazonos. That's not the subject. So here it just means is it a good get or not? So as far as mazonos, before when does the husband have to start paying mazonos? We said over there we recognize an onus if he didn't marry her because he can't. See, that's not to pay mazonos yet. But gittin is different, and we don't recognize the onus. And even if the reason why the condition was fulfilled was against his choice, he didn't have a choice because of onus. We don't recognize the onus, and the get is still a good get. Where does Rabbi know that from? How does he know ain't onus begittin? Is it because the Mishnah says like this? Maybe let's highlight it if it helps anything. To highlight this Mishnah. This is all the Mishnah. That was the condition he said. He gives a get. If I don't arrive, we'll come back within 12 months. If I don't come within 12 months, here's a get. And he died. So obviously he didn't come. Obviously he didn't come back after 12 months because he died. So is it a get? So the Mishnah says ain't no get.
Yeah, because he died first,
So what he's saying?
so it's finished.
On the one hand, you'd say it's an onus.
Yeah, the minute he dies, then the whole thing is finished.
Why? Because he can't give a get after he dies. The get can't take effect after he dies. That's what you mean to say.
Yeah,
And that's what the Gemara thinks. That the reason why it's not a good get is because the get is only going to take effect after 12 months. The Gemara doesn't think that the get takes effect right away on the condition something happens. It doesn't take effect until after 12 months. Here, when the date came, he's dead already. A dead man can't give a get.
Right.
So that's why it's not a get. But we could derive that that is also a case where he can't come back, right? He didn't come back. It's also an onus. And the Mishnah doesn't say a simple case of an onus. It says a case where he's dead. And the reason why it's not a good get, l'chara, is because he can't give a get after he's dead. And that's what the Gemara is going to derive. Mesu they don't get. We could derive that the only reason why it's not a good get is because he died, and the get can't take effect after he's dead.
Right.
But if it would have been a different reason why he didn't come back, hachala, I raise a get. We could derive that if we've gotten sick, and it could take effect wherever he is, and he says, I didn't come back because I was sick.
Right. Still good.
You could derive that is a good get.
Right.
That would be a right to Rava. That would be a source of Rava that ain't onus begitten. And even though he was held back because of an onus,
Right.
the get maybe is still a good get, and that would be ain't onus begit. Now this would be a potential proof to Rava, a source of Rava. But the Gemara tries to reject this proof. Maybe the truth is that yesh onus begitten, and it would be a good claim, and he could disqualify the get because I couldn't come. I meant only if I could come. I couldn't come. So it's a good excuse, and maybe it's going to invalidate the get. So why does it talk
Because
about?
we're looking at as mace as being an onus.
You're right. The truth is that mace
Just like
mace is an onus, but mace is worse than an onus because it's also yesh get lachamisa, that he can't give a get after he dies. That's the problem. Why does it talk about misa if it could have spoken about
That's
a
the
different?
Dilma.
Really, I'll tell you that chalanami eno get, even though it says a case of mace, and we were deriving, why doesn't it say chala? Why doesn't it say sick? Really, the truth is, it could have said chala also. The truth would have been that chala, if he got sick, also that'd be reason why it's not a get, because it was an onus. He has an excuse why he didn't come. So why does it say a case of mace? The gufa kamashmalan then get lachamisa. It wanted to tell you a case. It wanted to tell you this din that there's no get after death. So that's why I spoke about a dead man. It wanted to tell you this aspect. The truth is that in the case of the man who died, there'd be two reasons why it's not a good get. One is because it can't take effect after he dies, and that he didn't come, and that's an onus. The reason why he didn't come is because of an onus, and the onus is that this way the Gemara is saying now is a reason to invalidate the get.
What they used to do before going out to war, giving a get, was different than this. Because then the get would be chal from when the time if he doesn't come back, then she was divorced from when
It depends. If he said so. If he said, I'm doing it me'achshav,
Right,
I'm giving you a get that should be take effect now on the condition
Right,
that I don't come back. Then it wouldn't be a problem of Enget Lachamisa.
That's
because
because
it's-
with David and Bathsheba, that she was really divorced because she had a get like that.
Mhm,
So that's what we said it wasn't even
Mhm.
wrong.
mhm.
But isn't this the Gufa Kamashmalan is talking about the fact that he died and we still don't know, we don't have a proof that if
Have
he
you
got
called?
sick, that it would be,
Just I needed a more, maybe a cooler.
that if he, if somebody got sick, we don't know now.
The Gemara is saying that it could have said that also. It was interested in telling you the other Kiddush. It could have told you the
The
point of
fact is that
Chala,
is interested in telling you that, and we still don't know that.
but you can't prove it. But you're right. But
You
the Gemara
can't- we don't
but
have
you
to
can't
prove
prove that Chala. They wanted to prove that ain't onus
And we don't have a
You
proof.
don't have a proof.
That's what.
That's the most things. And why does it talk about them dead? To tell you that Engat Lachamisa. The Gemara says Engat Lachamisa to tell us that Chiddush we know already. You don't have to have this Mishnah to tell you that a get can't take place after death. We have other Mishnahs right there. Atan Reisha. Earlier in the Mishnahs over there it says Havezagit is also a Mishnah over here. We'll try to all this to highlight. It says Havezagit. I'm sorry. Havezagit Echim Im Mati. This is your get if I die. This is your get if I die from this sickness. This is your get, which should take effect after I die. All these three cases that he gave a get that should take effect after he dies. He has no conditions. He just says, when I die, if I die, okay, it's not almanas, it's not, but here's a regular case, not about coming and fulfilling a condition. And it says it's not a good get. Why is it not a good get? Because the get can't take place effect after death. So just to tell us the chiddush that ein get lachamisa, that get cannot take effect after death. You don't need the Mishnah over here with the fancy case about im labasi mikanda hashem asachodesh. You have a Mishnah about that already before. It must be coming to tell you the whole purpose of the first Mishnah, not first on the page over here, which is really later. This is the Reisha, this is the Sefer, that it wants to tell you the diuk that chala a reza get. The Gemara is asking a question that you can't just say it's coming to tell you the get doesn't take effect after death. But the Gemara says no, there is a chiddush in this point. Even if you know this halacha that a get cannot take effect after death, there is a chiddush. Maybe it's coming to exclude what Rabbi Seinu say. Who's that? The Tani Rabbi Seinu itiru that in this case over here, in the first case, where there was a some say that it is a good get. Why is it a good get? Because, like Moshe said, that if he says me'achshav, if he says that I want the get to take place now, so then it is a good get, because there's no problem of ingat lachamisa, because it's taking effect now. Right. Now here, the case is he didn't say achshav, but it has a date in the get. It has a date. The fact that it has a date in the get, why does it have a date? If it only takes effect when it happens, so then there's no reason to have a date. So Rabbi Seinu, who doesn't say who that is, but Man Rabbi Seinu, that a certain bezdin that permitted oil of goyim, like we have pasakum and yayin akum. So there's a thing of shemen, which is what pasuk like. There was a bezdin that permitted oil, even though there was initially there was a halacha not to eat oil of goyim either, and they took that down. But anyway, it says that mishcha is oil, and they show mishcha. The bezdin that permitted oil, and that means that there was a issue, just like you have bread of goyim or bishul akum or wine of goyim. So they made also a takana not to drink the oil of goyim, and then they absolved that takana. And that bezdin, that's not who the bezdin is. That those people. And why did they hold that it's mutter to get married? Because the whole like Rabbi Yossi says that the date that it says inside the contract says that they want it to be take effect now. So that would be a reason why. So the Gemara is trying to be misader that maybe Rav was wrong. Rav said ain't known as begitten, and he's trying to find a source. Trying to find the source from this Mishnah. We said that it's maybe just coming to tell you ain't get lachamisa. Ain't get lachamisa, you know from this Mishnah already? No, it had to tell you that ain't get lachamisa, and you don't say that he meant to say me'achshav of the fact that he wrote a date. So that's why the Mishnah had to tell you two cases. To say that this is your get and should take effect after death, that's one Mishnah. That there's no get that could take effect after death. But you still would think in this case where he said it has on it a date, and it says you might think in this case it is good because the date shows that he meant to say me'achshav. So the Bryce had to say this case, Mishnah had to say this case is also no good. But you still can't derive that chol raise get. So the Gemara is questioning the source of Rava. Where does Rava get this from? That ain't known as begitten. From this Mishnah, you can't prove it. Maybe chala is also nami eino get. And I just want to tell you another point about ein get lachamisa. So the Gemara is still on the lookout to find the source for Rava. Elami Seifa. So the Gemara is going to say, take it from if I don't come within 12 months and he died, it doesn't say that he got sick. It says that he died within 12 months. It is a get. I think this last thing shouldn't be. Okay, I'm sorry. This last thing shouldn't be highlighted. Just go here. There's yeah. So what does the Gemara see over here? Here there's no problem about get lachamisa because he said me'achshav. He said that it should take effect now when the condition is fulfilled. What's the condition for? What's the problem that he died? There's nothing. What's the difference if he died? Dying is not a reason why he shouldn't be a get because he said me'achshav. It is because it's an example of not coming. That's the reason why he didn't come, but it was an onus. And it seems that the onus, I raised their get. What does that mean? That we don't care that there's an onus. Isn't that a proof to Rava that even though the reason why he didn't come is because he died, we don't say, oh, he couldn't have come. And maybe it's an onus, and we say that it should not be a get. This sounds like a proof to Rava. mace, what din l'chola? Doesn't it sound like no different? Mace does an example that's held him back from coming back. And who then if he didn't come back for different owners, he got sick. So that'd be a right to Rava. Moshe says no. On the contrary, this is dafka mace. Dilma mace dafka. Lo nichale the people come yavam. The reason why it's like Moshe was saying before that the reason sometimes that he wants a dafka to be a get because he might die. Like the case of going to war, he'll be missing in action, and she shouldn't be an aguna. So over here, the reason why it's a get is not because we don't care about the onus. On the contrary, that's what he meant to say. He meant to say that if I'm going to die, he was only scared. He was scared at that point. He wanted his wife. Why do you want to give a get? He's going to die anyway. He meant to say that if I'm going to die, I don't want that she should fall to Yibum because his brother, whatever the case would be. So he wanted that she should not be Yibum. So here, on the contrary, he wants that if he dies, it should be a get. But if there's another reason why he wanted to stop the get from going through because he wanted to come back, and the onus happened, he got sick and he couldn't come. So that's not that. Maybe H onus begetting. So the Gemara is questioning that this also should not be a good proof.
This would be like the case that we were talking about where his brother is a Herish.
Yes,
And we don't
yes,
want him to be-
right, good. Now that we have Yavamas behind us, so that would be a good case. That he's
So that he wouldn't be, she'd be stuck forever. Right?
right. Or Naguna forever, right? Mace word in the so Mar says Dimma mace dafka lo nichli tiba kama yavam. So that's not a proof. You can't say mace word in the chola, maybe dafka mace, because there he wants dafka that it should be a get, and that's what he meant. But if he didn't mean that, he really wanted to come back and nullify the get, and it was held back because he got sick, that's not a proof. So we're still on the lookout. Do we have any proof to Rava? Elamihar. Now it doesn't mean a mission anymore, but it means a story. And so bring a story from Shmuel. Shmuel, by the way, was the one who started the whole thing. Shmuel said that by the Mazonas over here, that if the wedding Wednesday didn't come, he doesn't have to pay Mazonas because he's an onus. And then they went on to other owners also. Now we get on to Gittin. But now the Gemara is going to bring the Shmuel himself seemed to say, ain't onus begittin. Even though Yesh onus be Mazonas, ain't onus begittin. Now, who the Amalahu, he lost in the count that plus in Yom, this is the case, just to highlight what he said. He said like this. Oh, whatever, okay. He said, if I don't come within 30 days, it should be a get. Same as till now. He gave a get and he said, if I don't come within 30 days, it should be a get. And then Asa Basof Tosin Yom, when he came on the 30th day, he came, it was across the river, there was a river or something that was on the other side, and he was on the other side, he couldn't get the boat, he couldn't get a ferry. Well, Marva they say is a ferry, but here it doesn't sound like that. What does Rashi say? It sounds like the river was Paske Marva. Anohar Efsiko. Rashi says, Rashi says that the case was that the river was separating him, and the Maboris is the ferry that's supposed to take him across, and he wasn't able to get. The ferry wasn't on the right side. He wasn't able to get it right across. So he was standing on the side of the river bank, and he said, Amalu, Chazudasai. He was screaming from the side, I'm here, but he wasn't here. That's not called coming. Now we see it's honest. He wanted to come. The only reason why he couldn't get across is because the ferry wasn't there. So Shmuel himself, so the get is a good get. Well, it's a good get. The wife wanted to get whatever, and he wanted to back out. And Shmuel said, you made a condition, and that's it. The condition was that if you don't come, you didn't come. Even though we see it's held back by an onus. So the Gemara wants to say, this is the source of Rava, where he got that even though Shmuel says, Vayesh onus b'mizonos, but ain't onus begitten, we ignore the onus, and he didn't come. But the Gemara said that's not a raya either. The Dilma onsa the shchiach shani. That's such a usual thing that happens that everybody should have. He should have taken consideration when he can't wait for the last minute and then the bus didn't come. You have to come 2 hours earlier. So that's not considered an onus. That's not an onus. Whenever you go someplace and you have an important appointment,
transportation one can get delayed.
And people know that.
And people know that. So that's why the get was good.
Because it's not a real onus. Because you can't say you come to you missed the appointment, then he says, I missed the bus. So you come half an hour early. So it's not approved, right? If he meant even such a kind of tonight, then he should have said so. This is so usual. People always have missing the bus and missing the ferry.
He didn't say it.
If he didn't make in the condition originally,
barring any transportation delays.
Right. If he didn't say that, so then the stam is people don't mean such a kind of an onus. It's not called an onus, and therefore there's still no proof to Rava. Ella. So we tried already. I think 3 times. 3 times already, 2 Mishnayos and then Shmuel, and we still didn't find a source for Rava. Ella, Rava Sfarad and Avshei Kamar. Rava didn't get a source. He said it on his own reasoning that we have to say Ein Onus Begettin. His own reasoning said that it must be that by get we have to say that it's no onus. Why is that? Mishum Snuos and Mishum Prutzos. Because there are some women that are Snuos, extra careful, not to do any Avera, and there are some that are very lax, and we have to take care of both of them. And what is it more going to say? Bishim Snuos, the Amrit, let's talk about ourselves. We'll see the more inside. Let's say she got a get with a condition that if he doesn't come within 30 days, it's a get. And she has the get, and the 30 days passed, they didn't come. Could she get married?
Yeah.
And what happens if the husband's gonna come later on? And
She divorced.
yeah, but what if you hold yesh onus begitin? What if we're going now, we're being done, we're judging in the bezdin, we're the bezdin, and we're gonna make up psak,
So
yesh
you're saying
onus
if she's
begitin?
very careful or if
She's very, Snuos is very careful.
she's very careful or very lax, and for those reasons.
We're gonna
say
make
the
a,
get is good.
we're gonna say a onus begitin. Why?
Ain't honest
That
good.
we ignore the onus. Onus is not an excuse. Because if onus is an excuse, let's take the side, the H onus begitin. That if he comes back and is able to prove he wasn't able to come because an onus happened, so then we say the get is not a get. Now she got the get and she waited 30 days, and according to what she knows, it's a good get, and she could really get married. But she knows also that if the husband's going to come and prove that he was an onus why he didn't come, that it's not a good get.
Yes, then,
So is she going to get married?
no.
No, she's gonna be very careful.
So very careful. The yamit lo lahavi get. If you're going to say that the H onus begitin, and it could be that the get is going to be nullified if he shows that it was an onus, it's not going to be a get. Simon the law honest, for sabr the honest, umiyagna. It could be a case where there was no honest, that really he didn't come, and it's a good get, and really she can get married, but she's always going to be worried. Maybe
What's
there's
the
a
yakna?
Ma'agna means like a guna. She'll be held back. The anchor, she'll be anchored. The word aguna means like a ogen is an anchor that should be stuck. That she's never, she's going to continue. She's always going to be scared to get married until it gets verified that there was no owner. She doesn't always know. It could be went away. He says, no, I'm not coming back, and he's not coming back, and no one's going to see him, and she's never going to know what happened, and she's going to be scared. She'll be scared to get married. So we have to make a takana and say, "Ein onus begitin," and even if it really the onus should have
Made it.
made that it should have
No.
invalidated the get.
Should have been.
But we're going to make it a valid get.
Right.
That she could be comfortable get married because even if he comes back and he shows that it was an onus, it's not going to change the get. The get is a good get.
Because we
so you
don't
get
want
married.
her,
To
because
be in
very
a-
careful women will end up being in a guna.
Right.
In some cases.
Right. And you have the opposite case.
Okay.
Commission prutzos. There's also a concern about women that are,
Not, they're lax.
how do you say the word prowess? It's like somebody breaches forth. That's the it's somebody that does not held back. What's going to be? The Yamad Law Lavigita. If you say the halacha would be that if an onus is proven, so that nullifies the get. If he's able to prove that it was an onus, similar to onus, well, unrelo onus. Sometimes he really is an onus, and she knows about it also. That's what Taisa says. The word here was in the top was v'savra. Here the word is v'amra. That means that she really knows there's a good reason to think it's an onus, but she doesn't want to wait for problems, and she's going to get married, knowing that it's not so simple. And she's going to say lo honest. What's going to happen? She'll get married, and really, it's not a good get. Yes.
He was late.
He didn't come. He didn't come on the 30th
He didn't
day.
come, and she
And-
said it
and-
wasn't because of an onus.
And she knows that good chance that it is an onus.
Yeah,
There's corona going around,
yeah.
and everybody knows plane delay. Planes, not plane. People during the real
Very
corona.
low onus,
And she's going to say, no, he didn't come. He didn't come.
because he didn't want it.
He didn't want. And it's a good get. And I'm getting married tomorrow. Oslo means if I should get married, if he get bottled, then I'm saying later on, if the halacha is going to be that when he proves that it was an onus, it's not a good get. So it comes out that she married, she's H-ish, and the kids are saying, we don't want that.
Where's
So
the
the-
bottle?
The get bottle,
The nimsa get
the get, it comes out that the get is nullified. When he comes and proves he was an
Oh,
onus,
I see. Yeah.
and the kids are Mamzayim. So
Okay.
because of that, we made a takana that the onus doesn't count, and it's a get after 30 days. For better or for worse, it's a get. But the most problem with this, how can it be that there's only takana? Snus and prusas. Really, it should be not be. It really should not be a get. And we're going to say that it is a get. How do we do such a thing? The Gemara says yes. Call them mekadesh and that the one mekadesh. Whoever the words say that whoever makes kedushin, he's always doing it al das to Rabbana, and the Rabbana here remove the kedushin from him. So at this point, the Gemara thinks that it just means hefker bezin hefker. That the way that a person marries is with a ring or shavapruta, and that makes him to be married. And Rabban have the power to remove the ownership of the ring. And when he gave her the ring, he wasn't giving his own ring. That's what the Gemara thinks. Hefker bezin hefker. That's the way the Rabbanan could have a power to stop a legal marriage. That the Raisa was a good marriage because it was his money, but the Rabbanan have the power to disown his money.
To say that because of the onus, we're saying it's a good get. No, I'm
Right,
sorry.
well, they
Even in the case of onus, the
We
gate is
say-
the-
right,
we say
now-
the get to.
Right, and how is the get good? Because they're going to
Because
take away the
the base
marriage.
did.
They take away the marriage. They were married for 20 years, and then they gave such a get with a condition for 30 days, and there was an onus, and really it should not be a good get, but we want to make it a good get. And now we made it a good get.
So that means
We
the
took,
rabbis are taking away the marriage.
take the marriage. For 20 years, they were living and not as a married couple. Because that's how the Rabbanan have the power to make a takana to stop a marriage. How can you stop a marriage? It was a good marriage, Daraisa. We take away the marriage from the beginning. And we say that whenever you get married, you're getting married with the Rabbanan's consent. And they don't consent to such people who do such things, that give a get or to give a get, and then there was a tanai and the onus happened, and he wants to nullify the get. So we say in such a case, the marriage never was a marriage, and she could marry somebody else now because she never was married, not because she was married and divorced. That they can't invent a divorce, but they could nullify the marriage from the beginning. That's how they do it when they have to. And here they saw it fit that they should nullify the marriage in order that it shouldn't be such a problem where at the end it's tuas and prutzos. But then the
And the
Gemara says,
problems are going to be on one side of the Laguna, on the other side of the Mamzera.
right. And then the Gemara continues, that's only if he married her with a ring, with money. But if he married her with beer, there's a way. He should nickname Pekesa for star with beer, and then there's no hefka bez and hefka. That's not going to help anything. That's only if he married her with money. So then hefka bez and hefka could take away the money, and she never was married. But if he was mekadosh with beer, so there's no money over it. Hefka bez and hefka doesn't help you. The answer is shavir abana on the bilas list, which means that also he's doing it out of das rabbanan. These words kick in now. The words before are a little stronger than you needed it. Before the Gemara could have just hefka bez and hefka. The Gemara meant that only hefka bez and hefka first. But now the Gemara says no. That means that when he gets married, it's as if he's saying, I'm getting married on the condition that the rabbanan agree. So even if he doesn't use money, he does beer, and he's saying, as Taisa says, Kedas Moshe v'Yisrael. What do you mean when you say Kedas Moshe v'Yisrael? You say only if the Torah agrees and only if the Rabbanan agree. So he did it al Tanai. So again, the marriage is going to be nullified Meikara if at the end of the whole story he gives her a get with such a Tanai, and we want to nullify, we want to make the get should be a good get. How can we do? We can't make a get a good get, but we can nullify the marriage from the start. And we say that even if you're Mekadesh B'Biyah, you're doing it al Kedas Moshe v'Yisrael. And Moshe v'Yisrael is not masking. Moshe is masking, but Yisrael is not masking. Yisrael means the business. What do you mean when you say Kedas Moshe v'Yisrael? According to the law of Moshe and Yisrael. Who's Yisrael? That's the Rabbanan. Even if they're Rabbanan, so he's doing it only on the condition when a person gets married, he's doing it on the condition that the Rabbanan agree, and they don't agree to such things. If it comes out 20 years later that such a story happened with a get, they nullify the marriage from the start. That's the end of the Gemara. Now, if you have time, the whole Gemara now, till the bottom of the page almost, is a mirror image of what we did, just the opposite. Means this whole Gemara said, till now, we said, Rabbi said, Ein onus begitin. And the Gemara tried 3 times to bring a proof to him, and it didn't work. The opposite Gemara, next Gemara is going to be the same thing over again. No chidush, just opposite. It's going to say, Rabbi says, Yesh onus begitin. And the Gemara is going to ask 3 kashas on him, the same three points. It's going to be a kasha and the same 3 to Wilson. So we can fly another half of that. And we're going to pass like the first last. We pass like Ein onus begitin, and all these proofs are not proofs. And the reason is because of Shem Snus and Shem Prusos. But now we're going to go through the second lesson. Ikadamri. Amarova. The Chain Linyan Gittin. This way, this Nusach said the opposite. The Gittin is the same, just like Yesh onus b'mezonos. Yesh onus begitin. Amar kasava, yesh onus begitin. And now the same 3 proofs of before is going to be 3 kashas. Meisvei, kasha number 1. That's the Mishnah that it says. That says if someone gave a get, that should take effect if he doesn't come within 12 months, but he died, so it's not a get. And the Gemara wants to say, why is it not a good get? Because he died, and a get doesn't take effect after death. Meisu they get, raise a get. So that's a kasha and Rava. Rava says, Yesh on this begitin, and it should be an excuse. Here it's smash, but that's not an excuse. It's only not a get because he died. Gemara says no, not a kasha. Lo rim l'chachol nami and a get. You go for kamashman, they get lachamisa. It's just telling you the point about ain't get lachamisa. It's not, don't derive from there that chala would have been a get. No kasha. The chala also would not have been a get. It wants to tell you the aside then about misa. Ain't get lachamisa or tam leiresh. We knew that already. And the Gemara says the same terrace. In short, here doesn't go this whole elaboration. Didn't love Fukim Rabbi Seinu. Rabbi Seinu said that it is a get because it's as if it said Me'achshav, since you wrote a get, since you wrote a date. So you wouldn't have once tell you a bigger chiddush. Even if you know they didn't get lachamisa, but you have to know this is not considered Me'achshav. So the Gemara says no kasha. Tashma, next kasha. Me'achshav l'basi mikan v'ashnemas achodesh u'meis v'soch nemas achodesh raise a get. Here it says that he said Me'achshav. It's a get now. It's take effect now. on the condition that I don't come in 12 months. If I don't come, then it's a get from now. And he died. If he died, so then there's no problem about Ein Get Lachamisa because he said the get should take effect from now. So Adair says it is a get. And if that's so, that means that even though he didn't come because of an onus, why didn't he come? Because of an onus. And it says I raise a get. That means that we ignore the onus. And this second motion of Rabbi is saying that Yesh onus begitten, and he has a good excuse. So the excuse should be, I couldn't come. The one says, that it is a get, and you say, Ein onus begitten. Lo, meis dafka the lanichle people come. Yom same as the Gemara said before. On the contrary, it's not considered an onus over he died because that was the point. If I die, she shouldn't have to fall to Yibum. So that's the reason why it's a get. But if it would have been an onus, then maybe Rav is right that the Yesh onus begitten and he cancels the get. Tashma, the third case, the Rai was from Shmuel. Here it's the Akasha from Shmuel. According to this Lashon, Rav says Yesh onus begitten. Shmuel said not like that. A person gave a get and said there should be a get if I don't come within 30 days. By 30 days. On the last day he came, but the ferry wasn't crossing. Also, close in Yom, he came on the 30th day. The Pascha Marbra that the ferry wasn't on the side. He said, I came. That's not called coming, and it is a good get. So that's Kasha on Rabba. Rabba says that we do recognize the onus, and he says I couldn't come. And Shmuel says, no, you didn't come. That the Gemara answers again. That's such the usual thing that people should take into consideration. And if you didn't say beferish, then that's not considered an onus, and that's why Shmuel says that it's not, doesn't nullify the get. But maybe Rav is right that yesh onus begitten, and it's a good excuse, and it won't be a good get. That's it. That's it for today, and that's the halacha. Just to get the halacha. The halacha is as far as mazonos, yesh onus b'mazonos, and ein onus begitten.
Sharp off. Maybe you can make
Thank
it
you.
on Fridays, we do that and I have to get sharp.
We'll see. It
Because till this summer we have more time.
It could be we'll be able to catch up as we go along. It could be.
It depends. This today was good because
It was all a repeat, a mirror. Yeah. Okay.
it flew by.
Good.
Thank you.
Yes, everybody.
Nice and easy.
Thank you very much, Rebbe.